You're listening to Prosperity Report, Love and Money Podcast, the relationship podcast that helps you feel more confident financially and romantically. We do this by giving you actionable ideas to help you stop comparing and start repairing your mindset, your money, your relationship, and your life. I'm your host, Kanae Corder, best-selling author, international speaker, hypnotherapist, and financial therapist. Let's grow with the flow together. Enjoy the show. Before we get into today's show, I'd like to ask you a question. Do you want to feel more confident personally and financially? Then take my free masterclass, A Wealth of Confidence. You'll learn to reduce stress and increase wealth with confidence. You'll get a great understanding of your idea of prosperity. You'll learn your money mentality or your money personality. And that way you can reduce the stress in your life. You can increase the wealth in your life because you're going to get actionable tools and resources that you can start using immediately to transform your life. So take my free masterclass, A Wealth of Confidence. Go to KanaeCorder.com/wealth. That's KanaeCorder.com/wealth and get a wealth of confidence. Reduce stress and increase wealth in your life so you can reach your idea of prosperity. So now let's get into today's show. Hey there, my Prospros. Welcome back to another episode of Prosperity Report. I am so excited about today's show. Oh my gosh. This is one of my favorite subjects. We are about to talk about your relationship with your brain. I know you're thinking, Kanae, what are you talking about? I don't have a relationship with my brain, but you do. You do. And I'm going to tell you all about it because it's likely that your brain is running that relationship, that your brain might actually be bullying you. And I use that word loosely because your brain's job is to protect you. That is what it was born to do. And if we're honest, the brain does a great job at doing that. It does such a good job at doing it that sometimes it keeps you from enjoying life because it's doing such a great job protecting you. So you don't get all the pleasure out of life you need or desire because your brain is defaulting to protection. It also might mean that you don't ever live out your passion or your purpose because living out your passion and purpose might go against what you need to protect you. Now, the brain doesn't know it's keeping you from your passion, your purpose, your pleasures. Doesn't know that. All it knows is that its job is to keep you alive, and that is what it's going to do. So the month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And all of this month, we're going to talk to you about how your mental health is affected. And we're going to start with this conversation. Training your brain, really digging down deep into your relationship with your brain and seeing how you can adjust it, how you can train your brain for change. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're also going to talk about what affects that relationship with your brain. And of course, at the end, I want to give you a start, stop, and continue that you can use to start training your brain for change today. Let me first start by telling you what's going to happen the rest of this month. Next week, we're going to do a lot of talking about nutrition and your body. We're going to talk about how your brain, your microbiome, your mitochondria, all the cells in your body are affected by your nutrition. Really what you put in your body. So it could be food, but it could be other toxins as well. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about anxiety and really look at what your relationship with anxiety is. Many of us have anxiety. Some of us are ignoring it. Others are allowing it to guide us. And that anxiety is talking directly to your brain. Now, at times, that anxiety is needed. And that's something we're going to talk about in that episode. Other times, it's not. So we're going to kind of help you differentiate. We're also going to explain to you how the brain works when anxiety is happening, how the whole entire body works when anxiety is happening inside your body. I'm so excited about this Mental Health Awareness Month. Every single episode is intentional. So I really hope you enjoy it. I want to hear from you. So if you're not already a member of Prosperity Club, reach out to us, connect with us. You can go to KeneCorder.com/free-course and jump in to our free course, watch our free webinar, and then you'll be added to our mailing list. You can reply to any of those emails you receive and just let us know. But once you get into the Prosperity Club, you'll be part of an ongoing discussion. We have a discussion every week, and you'll be part of those discussions when you become part of the Prosperity Club. Let's get into today's show. I first want to talk to you about this foundation and the things that affect your brain. And then I want to talk to you about your brain specifically. And then I want to talk to you about how you can train your brain for change. The foundation that we teach in Prosperous Life program is that you want to have these things in place. This is the foundation: nutrition, sleep, stress management, physical activity. Nutrition, sleep, stress management, physical activity. In that order. Now, here's why I say in that order. If your nutrition is off, if you're feeding your brain food that is not going to nourish it, then your sleep is going to be off. You're going to be more stressed, and you're not even going to want to do your physical activity. However, if you're feeding your brain nutritious food, your brain and your body, then you're going to get more quality sleep. You're going to be able to handle the stress you do have, manage the stress you do have, and even see some of those things as not so stressful. So you don't even have the same level of stress. And your physical activity, you'll welcome physical activity, and you'll be able to execute on it. So that's the first thing I want you to do, is look into and consider your nutrition, your sleep, your stress management, and your physical activity. Where are you right now on a scale of 1 to 5? 1 being I'm really low, not doing well. 5 being I'm knocking it out the park. My nutrition, sleep, physical activity, and stress management are totally there. Now you can separate those and rate each one on a scale of 1 to 5. So do that first. Okay, so now that you're done that, give some thought to what patterns are you repeating? Yeah, you probably can think of some things, right? Some things that you do over and over and over again. And sometimes even knowing that it's not serving you, it's not for your best and highest good, but yet you do it again and again and again. Am I right? Yeah, we all do it. We all eat that thing that maybe we're allergic to. I once had a colleague in a class with me, and she was eating peanut M&Ms, and she was coughing while she was eating them. And I'm like, are you affected by these, peanut M&Ms? She's like, oh, I'm allergic to them, but I just love them. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, they make me cough and sometimes make me itch, but I just love them. So she knows that they're not good for her. And who knows what else they're doing inside of her. The coughing and the itching, that's what's happening externally. But what's happening internally, she doesn't even know. But we know it's not good, because the body is trying to show her by coughing, by itching, that this isn't right for us. Let's choose another snack. But she keeps disobeying her body. And maybe she's expecting a different result, or maybe she just accepted the result that she's had. Either way, is it healthy? So what patterns are you repeating? What are you doing over and over again that just doesn't serve you? Maybe you're choosing the same relationships. Maybe you're choosing not to study when you should and then you're failing a class. Maybe you go to a certain place where you don't enjoy it there, but you go anyway. Think about what are the things that you repeat. Maybe you tell yourself the same stories over and over again. Maybe you tell other people the same story over and over again, and you wonder why you feel bad. Every single time you tell the story, you feel bad, yet you keep telling it. Don't you want to feel good? Well, what if it started with stop telling that story? That might be the first step. So think about it. What patterns are you repeating? And as you think about what patterns you're repeating, I want you to give some thought to where those patterns started. Is this a program that was given to you? A lot of times we're programmed by society, our caretakers and families, our friends. We're programmed. Television, social media. There's so many programs out there, and a lot of those programs are negative. And so we really have to work not to be affected by those programs. You have to have some awareness, which is what we teach a lot in our Prosperous Life program. You have to be very aware that, wait, that's a negative message. I will not be taking that in. I choose not to. And those messages can cause anxiety, overwhelm. It can also cause you to overwork because, society has programmed us that we've got to work hard for the money, right? If anything worth having is worth working hard for. I think that's how the saying goes. I've tried to delete them out of my brain because I don't know if you've been following me and how long you have, but I've given up hard work. I'm doing heart work. If my heart isn't in it, then I'm not doing it. Now, I get that some people are listening saying, well, you sometimes have to do what you got to do. I agree. And I feel like I've done that. I've already done what I had to do to get where I am. And for the most part, I'm choosing hard work. Now, sometimes I'll choose hard work, like we just finished a big launch and we had to put some work into it. My whole team worked hard on it. But that was 2 weeks of hard work, 3 tops. And then we went back to enjoying hard work because some of the duties that we had to do during that launch were not our favorite duties. And we have another launch coming up in just a few months and we'll have to do it again. But we enjoy the reward on the other end, and that is serving you. Because when I launch, the next step is to have a new group of coaches that I am about to pour into. And boy, do I love that. So where have you been receiving messages and just accepting them? For me, it was hard work. That was one of the messages that I took and received and believed. What do you believe? What's overwhelming you? What's causing you anxiety? What's triggering you? Let's get deeper. Let me break down the brain for you, but I want to do it in like super simple terms, really super simple terms. In my hypnotherapy training, they do a great job of explaining the brain. So my first hypnotherapy teacher, she taught it in a way that was so simple. So I want to give it to you in just that way. She calls it the top brain, the middle brain, and the bottom brain. Now, she explains that the top brain is your conscious brain. That is the brain that is thinking and reasoning and speaking and applying meaning to things. Now, we'll talk about that later because that's the part that sometimes gets in the way. And then there's the middle brain. The emotional brain takes in all the emotions, sends out all the emotions, and that part of your brain kind of runs on autopilot if you don't know how to train it. And then there's the bottom brain. And the bottom brain, it governs all of the involuntary movement that happens in your body. Now, some people will say their emotions are involuntary, and I know they seem like they are, but let me explain what they're like. They're like breathing or blinking. You know how blinking is involuntary? Like your eyes just blink. You don't really have to do anything. They just know what they're supposed to do to clear your eyes. They're like these little automatic windshield wipers. But if you wanted to blink your eyes, you could, right? You could decide to blink your eyes. You can do it flirty. You could do it like to clear your eyes because you're like, oh, I need to squint, right? You can govern your eyes if you want to. But for the most part, throughout the day, they probably blink 1,000 times without you even paying attention to it. Maybe more than that. And your breathing is involuntary, yet you can manage it, right? It's just happening. Breath goes in and out, breath goes in and out. So for some of us, it's easier than others. But if you wanted to hold your breath, you could. Kind of like we do in meditation, where we guide our breath in and out. Taking slower, deeper breaths helps calm our brain. Now, I bring this up because emotions are similar. Now, yes, they're happening just like your breathing and your blinking are happening. But if you wanted to govern your emotions, you could. Now, let's go back. The top brain, that top brain is the conscious brain. It takes in information, and it takes a really long time for that top brain, that conscious brain, to form. Now, technically, they say it takes to age 24 for your top brain to fully form. Now, the scientists who are listening to this, the doctors who are listening to this, you're probably cringing because I'm not using terms that you're used to hearing. Let that be okay, because that is your conscious brain that is getting in the way of you receiving this information, because it's not neatly packaged in the way that you're used to hearing it. So there's a part of our conscious brain, just below our conscious brain, before we get to the emotions, called our critical brain. And that critical brain, I call it like the baloney detector or the BS detector, right? It's like, nope, that's BS. I'm not receiving that. And if you're a doctor or scientist, maybe you work with the body, then you may want to hear technical terms right now. And that may have your critical brain firing, saying, no, we won't receive this information. However, if this is the first time you've heard this, and somehow I just hit an emotion that says, oh, yes, tell me more, your critical brain moved out the way. It allowed me to get down to your subconscious brain. So that takes me to the next area. All the involuntary stuff, all the emotions, all of that is happening in your subconscious brain. So you know how they say we only use like 10 or so % of our brain, meaning that there's like 90 left that we're not using? Well, it's just not true. We are using our full brains. The part that they're talking about, that 10%, that's the conscious brain. The critical brain is about 2% of that. So it's about 12% total that we're using and that we can account for. The other stuff is happening underneath the conscious brain, and that's the subconscious brain. And this is where all the good stuff is happening. But however, this is also where all the negative stuff is happening too, because your brain, this is where the patterns happen. Patterns happen in your subconscious brain. Now, you know how I just said your conscious brain can either get out of the way and say, yes, I receive that, or it can get in your way and say, no, that's BS, even when something isn't. Well, the conscious brain has similar effects. The conscious brain can be triggered by a sound, a smell, just a slight visual. It doesn't even have to see the whole thing. And it can be triggered, and it sends it right back to the past. Because in your subconscious brain, that's where it holds all the memories, all the past stuff, all the hurt. And it could hold on to it until you're ready to release it. And that's where hypnotherapy comes in. That's why I love hypnotherapy. Because in hypnotherapy, we help patients release the past. Let it go, let it loose, delete. Just like if you had a Word document and you wrote a sentence, you don't like it, that sentence is now in the past. Then you just go and delete it, right? Delete, 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 delete. You hit delete button, back button, whatever it is, until it's gone. And then you save that document, and now you have a new document without that sentence in there. And you can forget that that sentence was ever there. Now, some people will say, well, I don't want to let go of my story, Kanae. That's a big part of who I am. You don't have to let go of your story, because if I asked you what you ate for breakfast 2 Thursdays ago, you might remember. if like there was some emotional feeling, or if you eat the same exact thing for breakfast every Thursday, then you might remember. But let's say I asked you what you had for lunch 12 Tuesdays ago. You might remember, you might not. It's likely you don't though. But that's still part of you. That's still a part of your story. And you are what you eat, right? That's what they say. You are all of your experiences, including your meals, including your traumatic experiences. But they don't make you who you are. You have a beautiful chance to choose every single day who you are. Every single day and every single moment, you can be new. You can wash away the old and be new in this moment. You can do that. You can have your story and be new too. So I asked you, are you ready to let go? Let go and train your brain for change. Because it's time. It's time to start focusing on your nutrition, your sleep, your stress management, your physical activity, and really getting control over it. Yes, controlling the controllable, because your nutrition is under your control. And if you control your nutrition, then you have more control over your sleep. And if you control your stress management, you have more control over your sleep. And if you control your physical activity, you have more control over your body. By controlling all of these, you have more control over your life. But you control the controllable. And those things you don't control, you let them go. You do control a part of your brain. You govern your brain. So control that part of it. Don't let it control you. So that's what I want you to stop doing. So start focusing on your nutrition, your sleep, your stress management, and your physical activity. Stop taking in that programming. Turn off the feed. If your social media feed is feeding you garbage, that's part of your nutrition. What is your soul eating? What is your soul eating? What are you feeding your brain? Turn that off. Close it down. Delete. You don't have to be part of those messages. And I want you to continue doing what works. Now, when you have anxiety and that anxiety is fueling you, I want you to take it in. You can do this. I know you can. Anxiety doesn't have to control you. You control it. We've talked about it a lot here, but if you want to go deeper, if you want more, be part of our group, because this is exactly what we do in Prosperity Club. This is exactly what we teach in Prosperous Life Program. And even if you don't join the program, you still want to be a Pros Pro, right? You still want to join the group. Join the discussion. So go ahead and head on over to KeneQuarter.com/join the club, and I'll see you there. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate this course, and I hope you did too. It taught me so much, and I wanted to share that with you. That's my goal. I want to pour into you. I want to share my gifts with you so that you can discover your gifts. So I hope you did that today. See you sooner. Hey guys, thanks for listening. If you want more love and money conversations, subscribe to this podcast. Also, tell your friends about us. I'll see you next episode. But in the meantime, head on over to KeneQuarter.com for more tips, tools, and resources. And go ahead and leave us a comment if you like. We'd love to hear from you. This show is not to replace professional counsel. The best advice comes from a professional you know. The topics discussed in this podcast are general in nature and are for entertainment and informational purposes only. We encourage you to meet with a professional to discuss your specific situation, whether financial or therapeutic. That's all for now. I'll see you sooner. Remember, no matter what anybody ever tells you, you can have wealth in all of its forms. Believe it, and you will soon see it.